Hello class. Today we're going to be talking about topic 10-5. We're using side, 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 angle, side, angle, and we're going to use proofs. This time we're going to add something new. We're going to add CPCTC. So first let's review. Congruent triangles. These are triangles in which the corresponding angles and sides are congruent. So, if I can prove that triangles are congruent, then that means all the corresponding angles and all the corresponding sides are congruent. Now, CPCTC actually stands for this. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Now, that's a mouthful. So instead of saying corresponding parts for congruent triangles are congruent, we just say CPCTC. So let's review. If triangle cat is congruent to triangle dog, we list all the congruencies. Well, let's start with the angles. That means that angle C is congruent with angle D, angle A with angle O, and angle T with angle G. And sides, well, CA would be congruent to DO, AT would be congruent with OG, and CT would be congruent with DG. So, if I know that these two triangles are congruent, then I know all of these facts. Essentially, that's what CPCTC is. Because how many congruencies does it take for us to show that two triangles are congruent? Well, we look back up here. SSS, SAS, and ASA all show 3. So we only need 3 congruencies to show that triangles are congruent. So how many additional congruencies can we find out? Well, we can find out a total of 6. So that means we can find out 3 more. Let's go ahead and put this into practice. I want to prove that angle S is congruent to angle T. Well, we're going to start off with our first given statement. We know that RZ bisects angle TRS. And we know this because it was given to us. Okay, so RZ bisects TRS. That means that this angle and this angle are the same. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, and the reason is the definition of that word, bisect. I've got a congruency, I can move on. We check that one off. Check it here where you can see it a little bit better. We start with our next one, and we know that angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. That was given to us. So that tells us here. And now we have our second congruency. We're done. Now, I can't use this as my third congruency. This is the proof statement. So I can't use that one yet. What I need is I need to find something else. Well, I've got 2 angles. And my options are side, 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 or angle, side, angle. So I need a side between my 2 angles. So angle, angle. I need this side. Well, happens to be shared. So we know that RZ is congruent with RZ. And why is that? Well, it's shared. So that's going back and using our reflexive property. Well, I've got three congruencies. I've already picked out which one it is. So I know that triangle, we'll go with RTZ, is congruent to triangle. Well, I went one arc to no arcs to two arcs. I need to do the same. Well, one arc, that would be R. No arcs, that would be S. Two arcs, that would be Z. And I know this because of ASA. Now, I can prove that angle S is congruent to angle T because as congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. CPCTC. So this is our first proof. Let's go ahead and let's work on another proof. Example number 3. Start with our first statement. We know that AB bisects CD. This was given to us. And AB bisects CD. That means that it cuts CD in half. So that just told me that CM is congruent to MD because of the definition of bisect. I've got my congruency statement. Let's see what else I can find. Well, it says that angle C is congruent to angle D. This was given to us, and it's a congruency statement so that we are done. I need that third congruency statement. Well, my three options are side, 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 side angle, side, and angle, side, angle. I know because I've got angles here, it's not going to be side, side, side. So it needs to be either side, angle, side. So side, angle, side. Or angle, side, angle. Angle, side, angle. Well, A and C and D and B, I don't know anything about those. They look the same, but I can't prove they're the same. But these two, I can prove that the two angles are congruent because they are vertical angles. Now, because I have vertical angles, I know they're congruent. I need to go ahead and name them. Well, AMC would be congruent with DMC. Sorry, DMB. And again, that's because of vertical angles. And I've got my three congruency statements. I used angle, side, angle. And now I need to name my triangles. Let's go from one arc to two arcs to no arcs. So triangle CMA, 1 to 2 to 0, is congruent to 1, 2, 0, DMB. Now, the order of these triangles is very important. You need to make sure that they have the right angle. Because now I can prove that angle A is congruent to angle B because of CPCTC. Congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Moving on to example number 4. And the last example. All right, our first given is that M is the midpoint of AB. That means that this and this are the same. This one was given to us. I marked these as congruent, so I know that AM must be congruent with MB. And the reason I marked them was because of that midpoint word. Definition of midpoint. And I've got my congruency statement. Done. Now it says that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. This was given to us. And it's our congruency statement, so we're done. And they give us another congruency statement, angle 3, congruent to angle 4. Mark these with double marks. This was also given to us. Got 3 congruencies. Well, I've got an angle, a side, and an angle. Angle, side, angle. So this is ASA. And I know that 2 triangles are congruent. It's just a matter of getting the names right. Now, the first triangle, doesn't matter what order you put them in, so long as you use the same order for the second triangle. Because I've got the angles marked, I want to go ahead and go marking angles. This time, let's count down. Let's go 2 marks, 1 mark, no mark. Well, 2 marks would be M. 1 mark would be A. And no marks would be C. I went 2 marks, 1 mark, no marks. Need to do it again. 2 marks, this would be angle M. 1 mark, that would be angle B. No marks, that would be angle D. Now that my triangles are labeled as congruent, I can write my proof statement. AC congruent to BD, and Y. Congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. AC, BD. Again, the order of the first triangle doesn't really matter. What matters is the second one matches the first one. So, good luck working on this assignment. It's just like the previous topic with the addition of this CPCTC. It's almost always going to be your last answer for this topic. Good luck and have a good day.